Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we take a call from
Charlie from upstate New York wants to know about a couple divers and the problem they had in the water.
We'll also look at the Scole experiments. Very interesting messages from the afterlife. Up next on Talk is Cheap. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. I'm your host, Dan Hohlfeld. Thank you so much for joining me today, ladies and gentlemen. And to my left is none other than Mr. Pete Halbleib.
Hey, internet, world, planet, galaxy, solar system, universe. How you doing this evening?
And, of course, the good old Space Force, right?
Yeah.
Damn, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to give the shout out to the Space
I
Force.
still don't have this stuff.
Space Force.
There it is.
There we go.
Jesus
All right.
Christ.
Yep. Woo!
I'll get it one of these days,
Yeah,
folks.
right on. Thanks for bearing with us.
Look at this shirt. I'm going to promote this again. We are recording this ahead of time, folks, but the new website should be up time this airs. You should be able to buy one of these suckers.
Dude, that's a cool
And the
shirt,
cover
Dan.
up.
That quality is really nice. I like that. The graphics are good.
They did a good job.
I
Yep.
agree with the message 100%.
I've been getting these ahead of time and doing a little QA on them, making sure all the quality is going to be good for you guys because I don't want to send you crap. One was a little crap, so I had him redo it.
Yeah,
and
you should have heard
it
him
looks
on the
good.
phone, man. Oh, he was all business.
Oh, I hit the glory hole right here.
Yeah, he did.
So, should we take a phone call? I think
Yeah, let's take a phone call. I think we got something from Charlie, don't we?
so.
Hey, K2D4 Network, Dan, Pete, and sometimes Dusty. This is Charlie from upstate New York. Just want to say love the show. Was wondering if you could do an episode maybe on sea monsters. Shark Week's coming up. Maybe throw in a little info on these two divers that got attacked, I think back in the 80s or something. Found a claw. Can't find any more info about it. But
Exactly.
I just want to say you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Oh, and keep the catchphrase. And I want that sign.
Yeah, that was a...
Definitely.
Line's been
And if
claimed.
you're ever up in New York, I'll buy you guys a beer. Hit me up.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, Charlie, first off, yeah, that was an older message. It took us a little bit to get to you, but, you know, we did hear you. Sorry, bud. Maddie from Michigan got the sign, but we will take you up on them beers when we're up in upstate New York next time.
Speaking of beers, look at that cup, ladies and gentlemen. It's on the store right now.
Yep.
Talk is cheap. Get the conversation started in the morning with a cup of coffee. They'll be like, what's talk is cheap? And then you can bring in the conspiracies and go from there.
And help people awaken themselves to, I guess, a little bigger world, if you will.
China.
Okay. China. Yes, we can go to China as well. Maybe we'll take Charlie from upstate New York. Okay, Chuck, if I may call you Chuck. You inquired about a couple divers that were killed in the 80s, and a large claw was found. I did do some digging. I spent probably more time than a human should looking into this, trying to find some evidence, accounts, things like that for you. I did find something. So basically, you were right on, man. In March 27th, 1980, a couple divers were out off the coast of California doing a little diving, and allegedly one of them got attacked by an unknown creature, and a large claw was found. I did find a little bit of a video.
So when you say claw, what are we talking? Like a claw off of a bear? Or
Yeah,
how-
okay. Good question, Dan. We do have a photo of the claw that we're going to look at in a little bit. But
Awesome.
to me, it kind of looks like a weird crustacean type claw, just a single hook, and
Okay.
it had some stuff hanging off it. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But as the story goes, two divers, one named Hans Ulbrich and the other Rick McKeever, were doing some recreational diving out in California, off the coast of California, and were at a place they were at several times before, and suddenly, out of nowhere, they heard some noises underwater, and some sort of sea creature violently attacked and killed diver Rick McKeever.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, oh, hell yeah, Dan, it did. So I did a little Google search, and as you can too, and you can probably find this same little thing online as well, and I do have a couple clips. Go ahead and play the first clip, Nano.
This is...
I'll just let it go.
After a night of partying in Santa Barbara Harbor, Hans Ulbrich and Rick McKeever dived to a wreck 90 feet below to find lobster for lunch.
Lobster.
But they are not alone.
Yep.
I'm not sure where this...
And this is Hans Ulbrich.
Whether it was on the surface or was on the boat moving or shifting or there was something on the ground or behind us. So I look at him, he's looking at me, and, I'm thinking, like, don't panic, we generally don't get scared because we see a lot, but this was really loud and it was really strange.
Heard a strange
noise. So we
noise.
look around, we can't see anything, and we continue on looking for lobsters for this guy.
Yep. Okay, go ahead and stop the video there. Okay, so they heard some stuff. There's Hans talking about it. The reason why they're looking for lobsters is that apparently back in the day, that was one of the things that these divers would do is they would trade, hey, if you take us out and let us dive for a couple hours, we'll go down, we'll pick you some lobsters or whatever else. And so it's kind of like a barter system that they did. So Hans Hans was talking about how they were doing that. So I mentioned earlier that, after this attack and, when the authorities got involved, they found this claw. And so in the same video here, we can take a quick peek, and here's a picture of the claw.
It was still 9 inches long.
Stop that there, Dan. So here's a picture of the claw, allegedly, that they found. So it kind of peculiar, right? Looks a little bit maybe like the end of a crab claw.
I'd kind of like to know what the scale
There's
is
a ruler
on
at the bottom there. It's a little blurry, but it looks to be a 12-inch ruler. So you're looking at about 10 inches, 9 inches or more. So, I guess holding it up, hold up 9 inches in front of you here.
Hang on. Let me get you on the screen.
Yeah, okay. It's about, a claw about this big. So pretty sizable. Here, I'll hold it against my chest. Pretty sizable. So here's a picture of it. Now, who took the picture or whatever? There was a reporter by the name of Lee Van Asten that was listening to the scanner at the time, and so he had heard about some rescue of a possible shark attack off the coast. So he ran out and took a look at it. And here's a little bit that Lee Van Asten has to say.
Some once-in-a-lifetime pictures. And when I noticed that the police were coming, I just headed back straight to my car and got out of there. I went back to the darkroom to get those films developed for the 11 p.m. news. Then at 7:30, some guy in a suit showed up at the news station looking to talk to the manager. But they left with the films, any pictures I was able to develop, as well as the negatives.
Okay, you can stop it there. Okay, so... like we hear in, our realm of interest, some interesting stuff was found, some documentation was done. Government fellers in suits show up and take everything.
You son of a bitch.
That's right. Okay, Charlie from upstate New York. I don't know, man, about this one. What we just got done watching was some clips from a 2013 episode of Dark Secrets called A Time to Dive. Now, outside of this television broadcast, this TV show, I found absolutely nothing on Hans Ulbrich, Rick McKeever's, them being divers, them experiencing any sort of
it's kind of kept quiet.
It's kept quiet, although when you look into the Dark Secrets episodes, the TV show, it starts out with, a team of researchers discovered this hidden room somewhere and found these recordings from a guy they call the Teller, and here are the stories that they found. To me, I have to say that this one is purely entertainment purposes only. I think it was a TV show that was put together to seem pretty legit. Had some pretty cool stuff there, some good, cinematographics to make you think. But, I mean, we're not talking, I didn't find a single news article, any other website that indicated that this was potentially a true story. I couldn't even necessarily determine if Hans and Rick were really divers that were out on the West Coast. So,
where are you from, Rick?
Arizona?
Yep.
Yeah. So Charlie,
Arizona.
I would love for you to come back or to call us back. And if I've missed something, let me know. But I just, like I said, when I Google this, and I've Googled it 3 ways from Wednesday, man, all I could figure out was that this was a TV show and nothing more.
So that claw could just be something off of whatever.
Yeah, it could have just been a stage prop for the TV show that someone made up.
Or it could have just been all kept under wraps, too.
Yeah, well, that
You
too.
never know.
Or it could have been a small claw that they put, from some sort of sea creature, crab or whatever, that they put in front of a fake, 12-inch ruler to show its size.
That'd be a pretty big crab for, 5 inches.
Well, but if it was this small and you just made a little ruler that said it was 12 inches, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
So I
happens.
think this was a television show. It's kind of like, I hate to say it, it's kind of like, seeing an episode of Manimal and thinking that the guy can really turn into a creature, which is ironic because we just did a Skinwalker episode not too long ago.
Exactly.
So,
You gotta warn people.
Who the heck knows? Charlie, really appreciate the call. Looking forward to those beers. And likewise, man, if you're ever in Wisconsin, drop us a line. I'll come out and buy you a beer, man.
Definitely.
All right?
Oh, yes. Ooh.
Yeah. So anyway, on to the topic. Dano, what do you got for us tonight here?
We got the Scole experiments. So this was submitted by, I'm loving this name, I Like Turtles. All right, let's bring up the clip of that real quick. Oh, I didn't even have it ready. Why wouldn't I have it ready? What the hell? Here it is.
Oh, there we go. I like turtles.
turtles.
Oh, I ruined it, man.
Turtles. What do you think? I like turtles.
So there
Zombie
it is.
Kid likes turtles. That's awesome.
So yeah, Scole experiments. Afterlife. The Afterlife. Oh, before we close up, I never even promoted this on the last show. We do have the voicemail. People call on the voicemail. You can leave the voicemail 1-256-510-5234, 1-256-510-K2D4. That is the network voicemail. I think eventually, right now it's when you call it says thank you for calling, talk is cheap, but I think I'm going to use this as a whole network number wide so I can leave it on the website so other inquiries can use it for product reviews or whatever they want to call me for.
Yeah, just bitch at him. Complain about stuff. And that's what Charlie used to get a hold of us. And what do you know? He took some of my time and got me to look into a pretty cool alleged story about a couple divers.
It can happen.
I know. There's lots of strange stuff under the sea, man. I'm not going to discount weird sea monsters at all.
So yeah, the experiments. So the afterlife. So basically break this whole thing down. These are experiments they were doing with the afterlife. Now this whole thing, and it actually indicates that there is the afterlife. Some people want to say, oh, it doesn't exist. Oh, I'll see it when I can prove it, touch it, feel it, smell it. Yeah. But when you're talking about afterlife, this is all metaphysical stuff.
Yeah, it's paranormal. It's stuff that isn't that tangible. And I will tell you what, Dan, when I I had never heard of the Scole experiment before.
Right.
This topic was suggested. And coming away from this, boy, it has changed my perspective on some things because it is very compelling and intriguing what this group did. I encourage everybody to Google right now. Well, actually, wait until the show's done and then Google the Scole experiments. There is so much information. It is super compelling and interesting.
So I'll play the intro. This is actually on the video of the documentary. I still gotta get too much buttons here, folks.
Yeah, that's all right.
The Afterlife Investigation. So this is a documentary from the UFO TV. So I'll just let it. We can talk over it. But there's stuff here from.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is actual footage too from the experiments.
And they were talking to the through the radio.
Yeah. This guy from Italy, was it? Yeah, I think it was Italian, wasn't it? The guy, he could communicate with the afterlife through a radio.
And they're getting these photographs, stuff on film strips that like shouldn't be there because there was a photograph. I'm gonna have to we gotta break this down because there's a lot of stuff already flying
This
through.
is a super in-depth topic. We're not gonna do it justice, but it's awesome. It's super awesome.
So to break it down, this was a 5-year experiment. So from 93 to 98, and they met twice a week.
Yep, a group of mediums,
house.
right? And a group of people that were conducting this Scole experiments were a group of mediums that could communicate with the afterlife.
And there was one that went into a trance.
Yep, yeah. Some of it was they would get together, they would go into trances a couple times a week and let the spirits talk through each other. Really crazy stuff happened, levitation stuff. There was even an instance where they said that, a physical manifestation of spirit hands came out. So like physical hands appeared in front of them.
Because you hear people, they say they're a medium or whatever, they talk and I can channel people from the other afterlife. Well, now we're getting physically lifting the table up, physically seeing hands.
Yeah.
The photographs. So there was this camera that they had that they were told.
Yeah, they were instructed by the medium,
exactly.
or by the spirits through the medium.
Exactly.
To bring a camera out and just set a camera on the table.
Yep. And then this thing, when they were all in the zone, they could hear it, the camera up in the air, and it was taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So they think, okay, there's not going to be any pictures. We're not going to see anything. It's all dark and black. When you take pictures in the dark, you can't see diddly squat.
Yep. And we're talking old film cameras. We're not talking these digital night vision cameras, infrared that we have today. We're talking about, for those of us that have been alive for more than 25 years, we remember a film camera.
When they looked at the film, there was stuff on there. Pictures of people, pictures of, there's orbs and stuff on there too.
Yeah, and like monuments and
even stuff from the
pictures
past.
of city, like landscapes and stuff, just random photos of portraits of people.
Stuff that shouldn't be on there.
Mm-hmm. And that particular film, like experiment, if you will, progressed to a point where the spirits told them to take an unopened, sealed film canister, take the camera right out of it and set it on the table, and images appeared on that film as well. It's messed up and crazy and cool. If this is legit, folks, I mean, this is a paradigm shift of thought on what the majority of the population, I guess at least of Western culture, believes or buys into.
Yeah, so I got it here on screen for folks. If you're listening on the podcast, you'll have to look at the podcast, I guess, because it's basically a film strip, and there's some scribbles, it looks like here, but it's a drawing. You can see like a snowflake thing.
It looks like there's German writing on it, as well as I believe at one point they said there was like Latin.
Yeah, this isn't the only one. There's another one too. I'll B-roll that. So we got the camera pictures.
Yeah, a gentleman by the name of Robin Foy. I think we should mention him. He was the lead organizer of this.
Yep. And then so here's an interesting part. The radio they had. So they had this radio out, and they were talking into the radio to communicate with the other side. And they were getting responses. Well, another thing they did was remove the tubes from that radio, and they were still getting communication.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Before solid state, amplification was tube amplification, and were literally tubes that they used. And you pulled those out of an amplifier or a radio, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't magnify any noise.
So at 2207 here, I believe, if I can bring it up quick.
Oh, and this is the text that appeared on the film, right?
Reported what they saw in graphic terms.
We saw colored lights, we saw materializations.
Oh, here's the,
we had direct voices, that is spirit voices talking from
That's
the air.
insane.
We were touched by the spirits. We saw a whole range of phenomena which could not be mistaken by 3 investigators such as ourselves.
So yeah, the whole shabam there can't be mistaken. These are people as scientists.
Yeah, because it has, and that's the crazy thing is this group progressed through their 5-year study. They started realizing they had something here. And so they started inviting engineers, mathematicians, psychiatrists, all these like high-level scientists to come in and say, hey, check this out. Look at what we're doing.
Exactly. So yeah, so the other thing there, that's basically what they were doing, sitting around the table there, and that's when they had their experiments happen. They're all getting into that state. So some people could say, oh, you're communicating with evil forces here. Yeah, why not? You know, some people that,
if they're out there, we should be aware of them.
Some that haven't crossed could be evil. You know, some of them have evil intent. They like to screw around with people. You
know, we talked about that guy from Italy that went through the radio for communication. I think we had some video at that. Do you want to go to 1323? I think that was where they had the actual live or the recorded interactions with them. Yeah, I think it is. This is crazy.
Communicate through Bachi's radio.
Manu, are you there? Emily? Yes. Hello, Manu. Thank you, Manu.
After this, scientist Harry Hohlfeld, a colleague of the Scole group, attempts further communication.
We would like to ask the question of the appearance of your space.
I can't really answer that.
Can you tell something about Scole?
Did I appear to be aware of what I'm doing in direct contact with them?
Thank you. Will the work progress?
Certainly.
Thank you. This is what I needed to know.
Could you imagine Dano sitting there in a radio asking it questions and getting it to answer you specifically?
Right. Yeah, that's insane. When you think about it, it's...
Yeah, this is, like I said, this was something that I was not aware of.
It's all happening.
It is. It's crazy. Now, you know, Dan, before we went on air tonight, we were talking a little bit about the Scole experiments and about some other episodes that you've done with the New Earth and people being able to communicate with people on the New Earth. And something like this, to me, fits very well with that approach as well. Is that maybe, you know, what we're talking about afterlife is people that have ascended to the New Earth, to a new dimension, an alternate dimension, and are able to, for whatever reason.
It's a possibility, because if you think about it, you know, I've had people on my show that talk about communicating with people from the New Earth. They're not using equipment like these people are. So could it? You know, there's so much stuff going on. It can be very complex.
But, you know, when we were going through this documentary and watching it, they talked about how the spirits were instructing them how to communicate better with them, and they got the sense that on the spirit side, they were experimenting with new methods of communication. So who's to say, this is 20 years ago, 25 years ago, this study started. Who's to say that if that's actually going on the spirit world side, maybe they've improved their communication methods, and in certain circumstances, if a certain person on this side is enlightened, has a certain wavelength or energy level, maybe they don't need the technology that would simulate that. You know, maybe that was a synthetic channel the radio brought in,
right?
You know, or something, because, you know, the radio piece was just a small portion of it. I mean, the Scole group did a lot of this experiments just through people meeting, mediums meeting, you know, joining hands or doing their seances to help combine their energy to communicate. So maybe it's just gotten refined over the years. Who knows? You know, I mean, that's what makes this and so many other subjects we talk about on this show so interesting, is that we're not sure, but there might be something out there, man.
Well, I think one of the biggest interesting things about this is that there is that physical evidence that people want.
Yeah.
So you got the camera, you got the photos.
For those of you that are watching this, you need to go watch this UFO TV, the full length thing, because there's stuff that we're not talking about that is really interesting. The rose petals that allegedly, dropped out of nowhere. They've got pictures of energy, I guess, I don't even know, just energy bursts and stuff. It's crazy, man. It's super.
It's insane.
Yeah. I love turtles, man. I love the Scole experiment because this was new to me, and I really like, being turned on.
I feel sorry for your mother.
Oh, yes. Ooh, definitely.
That makes two of us. Yeah, that makes two of us, man.
I love that one the best.
Ooh, definitely. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so there you go, folks. That look into this stuff, because this is crazy. I mean,
this was a good one.
People want the physical evidence. It's there. See what you think about it. I'm going to put that UFO TV documentary, the Afterlife Investigations. I'll put that in the description. Check her out. And I'm Dan Hohlfeld, joined by Pete Halbleib. And we're going to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk. And talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.